everyone, and welcome to the iConversations. This week, we're talking about the positive things we can focus on, no matter what's happening in the market. And today, we are joined with Peter Forbes and Catherine Fiorenza as our Icon agents and our guest. Guys, welcome to iConversations.
Morning.
Morning. How's it going?
Good, good, good. Hey, guys, as we get started, I'm just letting a couple more people into the session, but as we get started, can you guys just tell us where you are in the world, where you work, and kind of what's happening in your marketplace? Catherine, we'll start with you.
Okay, so I work in the Peel region of WA, which is about 100 kilometres south of Perth. I've been known to sell on probably a 50k radius of the Peel region. But more recent times, I'm now concentrating on a core area, so that's new for me.
New for you, new things coming up. Awesome. Pete, what about you?
Okay, well, I work out of my hometown, Dalby, Queensland, which is about 250 k's west of Brisbane, and closer to a city called Toowoomba. So yeah, that's where I operate out of predominantly.
Cool. And what's happening in your marketplace?
In my marketplace,
so if we think about a traditional market being a buyer's market, a balanced market, and a seller's market, where are you at?
I would call this ultra seller's market where I am. I've never seen the level of activity with buyers that we've had in the last 12 months. But each month, I think it seems to be getting stronger. I have 6 properties for sale right now, which is probably a fifth of what I generally hold. And of those, I've got 3 that are looking pretty hot at the moment. So I've got nothing to sell. I've got a bunch of buyers looking at the scraps that I've got. So it's as good as it gets right now.
You would say this is the time to be selling your properties that are on a T-junction with a laneway that have asbestos.
Well, like myself, I just sold my own house where I'm sitting right now. We just sold this, and it's a heavy flood area, so it has water inside it in a big enough flood. And we've just sold it as easy as you like without even trying.
Yeah.
And usually it would be close to unsaleable.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. This is the kind of, I just remember working through a couple of booms in WA, and it was like, okay, your property is on a T-junction on a roundabout, or something like that. Now's the time. Let's get this one going.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem to impact tenants living in them or whatnot. So no, that's fantastic, guys. I know that both of you have been in the industry. How long have you been in the industry, Pete?
I started in 2008, so this is my 16th year.
Yeah, and Catherine, what about you?
2012.
Yeah, so,
I started.
So you both have seen some okay markets, but I know both of you have specialized in working in a market where you couldn't find a buyer for nothing.
Yeah, it's completely opposite to where I am now. So yeah.
I remember Catherine back in the day having 40 listings and going, man, I'm light on stock. Like, you just got to get some more stock, because you had to have, for every 15 that you had, you might get 1 sale a month, that kind of a thing. So that's good. So the reason I mention that is because I just want everyone to know that these agents have worked not only in the quote unquote boom times like what's happening right now in both Queensland and Western Australia, but they've also worked in times where nobody wanted to know you from a buyer's perspective. So from that, guys, I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what are some of the things that an agent, because we have agents right across Australia. So some are working in a good market, some are working in as we said with paint. So we've got areas across Australia that are sellers markets, definitely. We've got areas that are balanced markets, and we've got areas that are challenging to get stock to move. And one of the things that happens, I know, is sometimes as agents, we get caught up in the noise of what's happening in our local market. I mean, Catherine, there would have been times when agents around you back in the day thought, I'm never going to sell another house. It's like this is never going to happen. So I just want to come to you two hardworking, authentic people and ask you, what are some of the things that if you were coaching someone either that didn't have enough stock or someone that had too much stock and couldn't give it away, what are the things they should be focusing on? We'll go with you, Catherine.
Okay. So in a market where there's ample stock and not enough buyers, you do need to be still proactive. You need to have your home opens. You need to be doing those every weekend. You still need to be working any buyers that come through because you may still have a match or know of a match. In a tougher market like I am now, where stock is few and far between, you still need to be working the market but a little differently. You can still have a buyer's database to match your stock, but you need to be proactive in trying to find listings. So yeah, like I mentioned, I've just started working on a core area, something I did 12 years ago, but it kind of blew out where I was forced into other areas. So now I'm just trying to concentrate on the area around where I live, just to simplify things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does get a little annoying when you see for sale signs go up that you're driving past every morning in your area. So I've decided I don't want to do that anymore. I want to, start concentrating on where I live and promoting this area.
I heard a coach and a trainer say one time, you know you're in your patch when you see another for sale sign go up and you go, that's how you know you're in your patch. If you're on holidays and you're, 2 hours from home and you see a for sale sign, you don't have that same feeling, but when you come out of your driveway and turn left and there's a new fresh other brand sign there, you go, hold on, that's not cool. So Pete, what about you?
I also,
go ahead.
Sorry, just to add, I also find in this market, it's trickier for my type of personality. So you need to be a little bit more pushy. You need to be a little bit more open. You have to ask for business a lot more to try and get the listings. A lot of sellers already have agents locked in because they've been hesitating about going to market. So they might already have all their marketing ready to go to market. So that can get a little tricky trying to slide in there as well.
Yeah, so they just get you in for just to double check that price scenario, and then you're there.
Yeah, or they're looking to buy something that you've already got. They are subject sale buyers because they need to find something first before they sell. But yeah, they've already locked in their agent. Where in a slower market, that's the stock you can pick up quite easily.
Yeah,
you
get that. Pete, what about you? Just initially from that initial conversation, what are you thinking are some of the things that an agent needs to focus on, no matter what the market is doing?
Oh, I think it's just important to focus on something. What I'd focus on is not necessarily going to be what someone else would focus on in the same area, but I think it's important to show that you're different and you're doing something and try to stand out from the crowd. I've always tried to stand out in my area by doing something completely different. And then it becomes a case of, people, come to you and want you rather than just another agent to sell their home.
Talk to us just slightly about that. What do you mean you do something that's a little bit different in your marketplace?
Yeah, okay. Well, when I started, I dressed in stronger coloured clothes. Like that sounds ridiculous, but I actually put a tie on, and people go, "Wow, look at those pants!" People were seeing me, and I was dressed up to the nines on Saturday afternoon, wandering the streets with flyers. So much so, people thought I was a Jehovah's Witness. So just looking different, being different, and coming up with different things. Now I'm always looking at different ways to sell houses. And I'm the online negotiator now in Dalby, and my competitors, they're flat out with pen and paper. Like, they're very old fashioned in the way they do things, and they've just started using DocuSign now and think it's a revelation. Well, I've been using it for, oh God, probably 8-9 years. I've been using DocuSign. So just those things for me is just being different to sort of stand out. But yeah, I think if you focus on something, it's important. I see agents all the time. They're not really focused on anything. They're just like, oh, how come I haven't got anything to sell? Well, what do you actually do that's different to the next joker?
Yeah.
Because at the moment you're a commodity if you like that. It's just like, oh, I hate real estate agents, but I need someone to sell my house. Who's it going to be? And they'll go to the person that gives them the highest amount every time.
Offers the highest appraisal, the cheapest fee combo, no marketing.
Yep.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. So that's probably my take, and that's probably sounds very vague to someone sitting there, but like, come up with what your point of difference is and go with that.
It's funny you say that because I was chatting to one of our agents here in WA within the last week or so, and we were talking about what's the difference between agents that are getting runs on the board and those that aren't. And we were talking about the fact that sometimes you just have to do the work. Like, you just have to do the work. There's an old saying, you can't hire somebody to do your push-ups. And because I've been looking and I can't find anyone to do that. But, so you've got agents that they're going to do a project, they're going to do a prospecting plan, they're going to do a marketing plan, but they don't actually have time on task to do that. So that's very interesting. Guys, in any market, is there an appropriate market to stop or take your foot off the prospecting marketing funnel?
Never.
No.
So even when in a market where you've got a lot of stock, that means you can pump out a lot more marketing if you need to. Obviously, by doing things like home opens, you'll have a lot more signs out there naturally. But I still do the old-fashioned just listed, just sold DLs. Obviously, social media plays a big part now too, so I make sure I use that avenue. So no, I don't agree. I think you should still do it regardless of what market you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about you, Pete?
I agree. I'm probably, I've said it many times. I've been around long enough that I have a database, and most of what I do is database manipulation and going through that, and most of my marketing is through that. So I'm pushing to people that I know own a house in Dalby.
So you've spent the last 15 years building a database, and now it is nurturing that database.
That's right, and going through it. Now, I don't get every single person in my database to sell a house through me. I don't think that's even possible, and I'm not setting out to try and do that. But I want them to know I'm here and I'm happening, so they see the stuff that I put out there, and I'm trying to sort of continually clean it, and I do that myself. Going through that, and I think with all the marketing stuff, you've got to be prepared to put some money into it and put yourself out there. Now, it's probably easy for me to say because I've got sales happening and that, but when you're starting, you've got to look at things and you've got to put some money into it. Like, you just can't do it for nothing. And if you're printing out flyers or whatever it's going to cost you. I subscribe to Check My House price at the moment, and that's just picking up, new parties that want an appraisal on their house. So I'm just filling it with my database. It's $300 a month. I don't think that's a bad investment, even for me. I probably don't need it, but I'm doing that.
Yeah, but I think the old rule of thumb used to be, and I don't know if it's any different or is the same, but it used to be take the number of dollars that you want to earn in a year and times that by 10%, and that should be your marketing budget, whether that be marketing, prospecting, whatever it is. So if you're happy to earn 100 grand a year, you should be spending 10 grand a year on personal promotion. If it's, you know, if it's $500,000 a year, that's 50 grand a year. And you can just say money, that amount of money well spent in a concentrated area, you can't help but be known as an option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And when it comes to different market periods, what do you see as the skills that, like, what do you do to enhance your skills? How do you adapt new skills? How do you keep your old skills sharpened? Do you want to speak to that at all, Catherine?
Yeah, I guess in an overstocked market, pricing can be an issue. So you have to be able to talk to your sellers and get price adjustments if required. Whereas in an overstocked market that we're in at the moment, you need to sell yourself more, I feel, what you can do. I mean, you hear all the time a house sells itself at the moment. You know, I can do it myself. There's a lot of for sale by owners trying to sell their property, and they do sell their property in this market, but they may not be achieving the best price. They're worried about spending $10,000, $20,000 on commission, but potentially missing out on $40,000, $50,000 in a sale. So you just need to know what discussions to have in that market as well. So
yeah, I'm seeing that as well. A lot of the poison, you know, the agents have pushed in our turf where we are. They push the off-market sales so strongly that buyers, I mean, sellers are literally losing out on 50 and 100 grand because they go, oh, I've got a buyer. They flick it through to a buyer's agent. The buyer's agent comes in with one offer, which is equal to what the seller's hoping for, no competition, and it's gone. You know?
Yeah, a lot of the time we're achieving above expectations at the moment. So if you're just meeting market on the price by selling off market, you may not be working in your seller's best interests.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's just about being market aware.
Mm-hmm.
Pete, what about you? What kind of skills do you see, or maybe for me, if you reflect back on 15 years, you know, you're in down markets, up markets, whatever, very rarely the up market, but down markets, what kind of skills did you find that you needed to add to your repertoire from where you started? Pete might be having some tech issues there.
I am, but I think I am. Sorry, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I was just saying, what kind of skills did you have to add to your repertoire as you're moving through different types of markets?
Yeah,
like, did you have to learn better negotiating? Did you have to learn better marketing? Did you have to learn better personal awareness?
Yes, I've probably done all that. I've probably done less of that in the last 5 years than I've ever done. But yeah, prior to that, I did a lot of that sort of stuff, looking into and studying all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I haven't done much in that in the last 10 years. But yeah, I try to be very honest with sellers is probably my thing, and you know, reading how to talk to a seller that needs a bit of a shove at times. Like the other day, I was sitting with a husband and wife at their table, and they got an acreage property, and they said, "What do you think? You know, what do we need to do to sell the property?" And I said, "You've got to tidy it up." And he said, "What do you mean by that?" And I said, "Well, I drove in today and it looks like a wrecking yard." Anyway, now that's pretty harsh. That's a harsh thing to say. But, and of course he was offended by it, but the wife looked at me and said, "Thank you, Peter. Thank you." Someone's told him, because he just had junk everywhere.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't junk to him, it's stuff that he has, and he's got an acreage property, but from a sale point of view, it looks like junk. Yeah, so you've got to be sort of honest with people.
And I suppose buyers coming to look at a property that has all those valuable possessions on display that you call junk. What are they thinking? They're thinking, oh my goodness, how is that all going to be here when we take possession, or is that guy going to be able to get it off the property? Or
Yeah, and look, I give them examples of what I've seen and what I've had to deal with, and I'll say, look, I'll sell your property with all that stuff in it, but it's going to make it harder, and you'll probably be worth less money if you don't do something about it. So yeah, it's about being honest. Yeah, I'm pretty brutal sometimes.
yeah, but you've also been in the marketplace for a little while. Pete, I know you've got to shoot off to an appointment. I just want one last category, and then I'll come back and pick this up with Catherine. What about resting and recharging as an agent in whatever market? I know you have some pretty strict things that you go and do with family. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've got a lot better at this. Yeah,
this wasn't always your strength.
Yeah, probably since EXP came along, I've probably got a lot better. I've probably worked less, and I've done a lot of the kid running around and stuff. We're actually going away for 10 days on Friday. So yeah, we've learned to book in the holidays and focus on that side of things. And you know what? I find most people don't care about you having a holidays. Most people are happy with you, and the people that think that's bad, well, you don't even want them as a client anyway. Like, who cares? But yeah, I think that's something you got to work on yourself, and I've found a place that I'm happy with. And yeah, I don't care about tenants, and because I have lots of tenant stuff that goes on in the background, and I literally don't care about their problems. Patrick in my office, he deals with that, and I just focus on the sales side of things, issues that come up, And look, I get a lot of hate in my little town. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of if you look at Facebook and read Facebook, like, someone called me arrogant and pushy the other day. And a lot of people would take that to heart, and I didn't at all. I don't think it's true. And the guy that said it on Facebook, I challenged him. I said, have we even met? And he reckons we have met, but yeah, I didn't know his face. I've never met him. So he's heard something, but it'll be something in relation to a tenant that's caused him to have that viewpoint. But
I think that's a great little tip there. That's a big golden nugget there. People will love to say horrible things about you because why? You're an easy target. You're in real estate. And I know agents that will stop working for a week because someone said something wrong.
Yeah. No, I think you've got to be very careful with that. I think that's a big problem in real estate, and I've probably learnt to deal with that a lot better. And in my other sides of my life, I'm a president of the PNC of the kids' school, and there was a meeting the other night, and one of the teachers said something fairly harsh, and it meant nothing to me. I was just like, okay, and I was harsh back to him, and some of the other PNC members were all upset, and I'm like, but he's allowed to say what he thinks in a meeting. Like, he can't. Like, it's sort of, that approach has sort of gone into other parts of my life as well. And I think as a real estate agent, you're going to cop a lot of flack. Just push it to the side and move on to what you're supposed to be doing, and that's helping people buy and sell houses. Yeah,
absolutely. Peter Forbes, if you've got to shoot off, I can see the time. I know you've got someone waiting for you. So thank you so much for popping by.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Catherine.
Bye, Peter.
All right. See you later.
Catherine, what about you? What are you learning about the world of resting and recharging?
I'm pretty much like Peter. So before joining EXP, I was working 6 days a week, lucky to have half day off on a Saturday, working till 6 o'clock in the office or out on appointments, then picking up my son, getting home and doing all that stuff. So my life pre-EXP real estate was completely different to the way it is now. So obviously you have the benefits of enjoying a bit more income when you sell from EXP. So the pressures off a little, that you don't have to sell as much stock to make as the same amount of money. So I've got to keep reminding myself that it's okay to have a day off still. But I do try and plan a scheduled day off every week. So usually a Tuesday, just
Yes,
not today.
well done.
I might as well keep working today. But yeah,
Good Friday coming up, so you can have Friday.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do a Friday. But yeah, for me to have a holiday, I didn't have a holiday or take longer than 3 or 4 days off at a time for about 4 years. And by the end of the year, religiously, I used to get stressed out and very sick. So that hasn't happened with EXP. So from a health perspective, it's been great. More time to myself, a lot more time for my son. I'm able to pick him up from school every day. We don't need to be looking at after school care or things like that. So I've been able to work around him more. So, which was one of my aims with moving to EXP, was to be a bit more family orientated, which I've done.
Mission accomplished with that.
Yeah. There's always that guilt. I should be working, but then I've
So
just
before
got to
you
remind
had
myself.
parent guilt, I'm not spending enough time with my son. Now you've got work guilt, I'm not spending enough time with my job. That's a bad problem.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So
Can we
you
take
just
a
got to remind
couple of
yourself.
seconds? Oh, sorry. Go on.
You just got to remind yourself why you're working.
Yeah.
What
It's not
what
a
your
dress
end goal is.
rehearsal. You get one
Yeah.
shot at life, Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I heard somebody the other day, they were talking about being at a funeral and someone said, no one ever said, gosh, I wish, as a husband and wife, I wish we would have argued more. Or if a parent happened to lose a child, they would never say, oh, I wish I was working more instead of spending more time with the child. Catherine, the time we've got left, which is just a few minutes, you have started to work in a core area. What are you learning about yourself, and what are you learning about that process to take on this new challenge?
Well, it's only very early days. I'm talking probably 3 weeks into making that
just
decision.
weeks, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Right now, I'm just trying to get my name out there so people know that I'm an option. So just flooding them as much as I can. After Easter, I'm going to be doing more of a social media campaign. So hopefully put something out more consistently there. But this next week or so, I'm just coming up with a plan, like a calendar plan for the whole year as to what I can do in that farm area or that core area, so that I know exactly what I have to do, when I have to do it. And I feel like if it's written down, I will more likely do it than not. So yeah, if I've got a calendar prompt telling me that something needs to happen, there's a high chance I'll do it.
What I love about you, Catherine, is you can do that. You can identify the gaps, and then you can just keep, okay, cool. So I need a to-do list. I need a marketing calendar. And then you just work to it. And it's so good, because so many agents flounder. And even if they have a plan, they forget to have a plan.
Yeah, procedures and practices are things that I really like doing, which is probably sounds awful to other people, but yeah. So when I put a house, for instance, I've got one to advertise as under offer today. I've got a process that I have to follow, put the socials out, and stuff like that. So I know exactly what I have to do after each milestone. I would like more of those, but yeah, the selling time here is ridiculous at the moment. You're probably 4 or 5 days, so you don't have stock for very long.
As opposed to the 180 days that we used to know very well. So
yeah, that's right. So
very good. Catherine Fiorenza, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to us on iConversations. We appreciate that, and we wish you all the success moving forward through Easter. I'm looking forward to seeing you dominate in your core area. I know it'll take a little while for you to get there, but yeah, thanks very much. And thanks everybody else for joining us on iConversations, and we'll catch you on the next one.
thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, guys, have a great week.